Hello friends and welcome to a very delayed patch highlights video. I was gone when the patch came out, so I felt at this point you all probably know the patch. I'm not going to read it to you, but I'm just going to share my experiences having played a couple games, watching like the various trends at pro levels, stuff like that. Share what I've learned, which will of course continue to update as we get more than like 5 days with the patch. So first off, XP and passive gold have been changed, so there's less passive gold and there's more XP required to get levels. This is, I guess it's like slowing down the game a bit, but that's only in terms of like reaching these late game items and levels. Like there's nothing stopping you from just ending games earlier with lower levels and lower or less items. I think that meta could still develop. So I'm not going to say it's strictly slowing down the game, but it's slowing it down compared to where it used to be before, which is like we're all getting items and we're all getting levels. I felt that like if you're winning and doing well, I don't notice this too much. I still feel like I get the gold, the levels I need. But if I'm losing and I'm having to play a lot more defensively, take a lot more like safe plays, like okay, I want more creeps, but like I gotta be careful in case they're gonna kill me. It feels a lot worse because it's taking a lot longer to catch up in levels and to get the items I want with this decrease in passive gold. So I feel that puts more emphasis on the laning stage to come out ahead, picking strong laners, I suppose, or just people who can play the lane longer. Because skipping ahead, one of the main item changes that lifesteal also got nerfed. So I think it's harder, not impossible, but harder for carries to just default to the jungle. So I think I've experienced success by emphasizing the laning stage a bit more, having good lanes. And when it doesn't go well for me, it feels really bad. Talking about the laning stage, these flag bearer creeps, I don't fully know how it's going to change the game yet. I'll be honest. I do think they're really cool. I think melee supports have a little more value now from these flag bearer creeps. Because securing range creeps, that's like something you've heard me say, heard everyone say. It's developed over the last couple years, and now everyone is thinking about it more. And a lot of times you just use a spell to get it, and if you don't have a spell, range supports get to launch an auto attack and still go for it. Melee supports in a tough matchup have a very hard time ever going for range creeps if they don't have a spell. But now that you have this flag bearer creep, it is closer to your creep, so it's safer. You can also do like creep aggro to pull it in. And because it has increased magic resist, it's not so easy to just nuke it from afar if you are an enemy hero with like those long range spells. So it comes down to like a right click battle to get the creeps. And if you're a melee hero, you tend to have slightly higher damage and a better animation than ranged heroes. So I think this flag bearer creep is a nice balance back towards melee heroes. Now range creeps are still in the lane, so it's still great if you're a ranged hero with a nuke, you can still help out with those. But I think these flag bearer creeps are, I don't know if intentional or not, but a pretty cool thing to have for melee heroes. I haven't used them too much in the lane stage. I just kind of stand near them when I need health and I don't have tangos. That's about the extent I've done. I'm not in the habit yet of still always thinking about them. So I'll get back to you guys as I learn more about these flag bearer creeps myself. But one of the other questions I got asked a lot was like, is it going to be worth pulling this wave? Yes and no. I do think pulling this wave is more valuable now because, you're killing off this creep that gives a bunch of AoE gold to the enemy. But I don't think that is worth sacrificing lane equilibrium or anything. So I think it's still decided by whether I can pull or not right now. And I'm not going to do a pull that I shouldn't just because it's the flag bearer wave. There is a pro and con too. Like this health regen is kind of nice for you. And so if you pull this wave, you are losing out on some regen that the enemy is getting. It will kind of shove the lane into you. Could be good, but it's added some complexity to it that I still need to explore more. So I'm just going to throw it out there. I think it does have some like deeper pulling considerations. Don't think you have to like lose sleep over it right now. Like just pull when you need to pull. Don't pull when you shouldn't pull. And I don't think this is the end of the world quite yet. Map changes are cool, bouncing out of the mid lane. There's a cool new like little ward spot that is pretty good, but also pretty easy to check. So how much value it has, not fully sure. Stacking the dire camps is a little harder, but still possible. So overall, I think fine with these map changes. Some of the movement near the Dire is also different, a little harder to like sneak back there for deep wards, but nothing end of the world. The main last thing I want to talk about is this small camp change near the mid lane. So mid lane with the small camp became very even. It was very possible to get what you wanted so long as you could do the small camp. Now I think it's harder. There's a lot more skill-based mid matchups, and that means ganking has more value. Even though I said I've been emphasizing a lot more my like laning stage because of these other things, a successful gank is easier now because with the small camp, a lot of mid laners are spending time in the mid lane and then going to the small camp. The small camp was from the opposite side of where the enemy position 4 would gank from. So they're spending more time away from the 4. If they see the 4 coming in from that side, they just go farm the small camp. They're not being like zoned away from farm. If the 4 tries to cross over, you're like going through vision, so then they just back up further. It's very hard to get like a successful gank off in some situations. And it was just like, even if you start losing the lane because you do get killed by a gank, they still got the small camp, so you just like farm that. But now it's a lot harder. You have to spend more time in the lane as mid laners. If you want to stack, you have to like move farther from that small camp. And if you do actually die to ganks, like I said, I find it harder to recover, and that small camp is gone. However, if you are the 4 support and you're thinking about just camping the mid lane, don't forget, you're losing passive gold, and the XP to level up is higher now. So I'm still exploring this, but I do think there will be a very fine balance of identifying this is a good time to gank, or like this is an impactful rune to go for, and it will have more impact than you did before. But if you mess it up too much, you're going to really hurt your own game, and it might have been better to just stay in the lane, get these flag bearer creeps, things like that. So I'm not fully sure which heroes will truly benefit from all these changes quite yet, but those are the overarching trends I've been like keeping an eye on. This emphasis on strong laning, but also people who can gank pretty well, and then like the big winners are people who can do both. Item changes, let's move on to that. I'm not going to talk too much here. BKB refresher is the biggest change here. What I think this will mean, besides from like just killing this combo, right? Some people will still do it, in heroes especially. Agility and strength have a harder time having this much mana. So I think just people will start doing this less. And what I think that means for supports is that people like Abaddon, Omni Knight, save heroes to an extent. They start going up in value. Because when you could just BKB for 12 seconds in the late game, 2 dispels, 2 periods of spell immunity, I don't need you. I'm just gonna go blink, do my own thing for 12 seconds, right? And the support's just like, okay, bye, you know? But now, you're probably only getting the BKB, and you're not gonna get the refresher. And so now if you get stunned, maybe you don't want to just BKB, because you're like, well, actually I need it for later, and I don't have the refresher anymore. Now it's really nice if you have strong dispels from your supports to help save your allies. I really feel like Abaddon, Omni Knight, those kind of heroes dropped off as this BKB refresher meta came in. So I kind of think as it dies off, those heroes will start to come back again. So that's what I'll be looking for. I don't know if it's fully true or not, but that's just my impression of that. Other support items like Force Staff and Glimmer got some buffs, Glimmer especially. So I'd expect to see these items a little bit more. We moved towards like drums and Vlads a lot of aura items. They were just good, you know, so everyone's building that. But these buffs are kind of pushing us back towards the classic support items. Mech got a very nice buff as well, cheaper by 100 gold, 15 seconds off the cooldown. That's really nice. So I think mech, you'll see a lot more mechs. The components are not too bad in the laning stage. Like the headdress could be fine in the laning stage. And then off of a strong lane, you pick up the mech. The lower cooldown allows you to play at a higher tempo and keep pushing your lead. Especially because Morbid Mask and all the lifesteal components got buffed against heroes, but decreased on creeps. So I think it's harder for carries to, let's say, win a fight, but get low, and they're like, I'm just going to go jungle. Or like in the laning stage, you can't just get beaten and then like get a Morbid Mask and go to the jungle. It's just harder now. And I think mechs might be one response to that. Headdress in the laning stage to play the lane longer, and then mech as an item so that after a fight, you're like using this burst heal, they're not so low, so that it's not such an issue that the Morbid Mask is a little bit lower as they switch back to farming. I've been playing with mech a little bit more. I haven't gotten to do it too much yet, but I think mech's a big winner from this patch. Beyond that, that's kind of like all the support changes I really want to talk about, I think. Midas is cool, but it's not really a support thing, I think. Neutral items, we got some new ones, got rid of some old ones. So Seed of Serenity, I think this will be something to just backpack a lot, especially if you're thinking of going Arcane Boots. Just keep this in your backpack, pull it out when you need to heal, drop it, put it right back in the backpack. I think, I just think that'll be good to do. Lance of Pursuit, to me, is just a mana item. I've used it a couple times on like Crystal Maiden. I'm not even touching this like passive. I think this passive and combo like is very weird because the heroes that like chase are not usually heroes that strictly want mana pool. So I find this item very awkward. I have just been using it as a mana item as a support for the most part. There's very few heroes who like, I think this combo is exactly what they want, which actually I think some of the heroes who are doing really well are exactly that type of hero. We'll get to that later. Occult Bracelet is cool, but I think supports won't usually be taking that many like jungle camp hits and stuff. So it seems like more of a core item. Some of the other ones, this one's really cool, extra cast range, but a decrease in max mana. Gonna be a tough call for different heroes. Int heroes, I think, will generally be okay with this, and they're the ones who want the cast range the most, so like, that's fine for them. Strength and agility supports and cores are gonna have to think harder whether they want this, because they can't afford to lose this much mana as much. So a cool item there. These other ones are interesting. I don't know how they'll play out. Dagger of Restool seems straightforward, just 100 health for 40 damage sounds pretty good. This one is pretty interesting. I don't know how effective this is yet. I haven't seen enough, and I'm not a core player, so it'll just be cool to see. Ogre Seal Totem's pretty funny. You've all seen it from the customs, right? Doesn't stun, slows, but it's kind of a cool item. The rest, I don't know. I'm glad Spider Legs is gone. That was kind of a whack-ass item. And these are, I think, good changes. Not that we see tier 5s all that often. Hero changes, instead of going through that long patch of hero changes, let's just jump to this. This is all people really care about usually. I am still filling this out. So if you're wondering why are they all in the middle, average heroes? I don't know. I haven't tried everyone yet. So heroes that I think are really good, let's start with hard supports. Undying seems like the king of the patch right now. The change to him to allow Decay to be essentially a heal for him while more damaging to enemies is awesome. I said mech would be good, in my opinion. I think building mech on Undying's good. So I really feel like his laning stage has been rewarded so much. And then he builds a mech, and then he pushes a very fast tempo. I've had some good success with Undying so far, as much as I can say for like 2 or 3 games. But they've all felt good. Really crushes enemy strength heroes, which there's a lot of them, which are popular. Maybe as the meta develops, won't be so popular, but coming out of the last patch and people still playing the same heroes, a lot of strength offlaners. So Undying, just slapping them around, kills the flag bearer creep, all of that. So I think this has been really good. If I had to pick one hero to play for MMR only, I would probably be spamming Undying, but I can't do that because I gotta explore everyone else to tell you what I think of them. Crystal Maiden also had good success with her. You can still do the QW build, buy a couple mangoes, very aggressive at level 2. If you think you can get kills, fine. If you don't think you can do that, get the passive QE. This is not so passive of a skill build anymore. Confusing terms there. This used to be very defensive, like, we're not doing anything. I'll just use Q to secure range creeps and we'll just chill. But now the aura is better for your lane partner. So depending on your matchups, if your lane partner uses a lot of spells, you can go QE, and it's actually not so defensive anymore. You're starting to just spam spells and win this high regen war. So I have tried that once. I will continue to try it more, but I think that could actually be something I go for. Just like in the past, I would only go for it if I thought it was a very defensive lane. I do think QW still has a lot of value, but I'm kind of liking this idea of QE spell spam with the right allies. So I think both builds are now very, very legitimate. And even if you just go QW, when you eventually get to your aura, it's still better than it used to be. So it's still a buff overall to her. I like the classic support items on Crystal Maiden have usually been what you go. You don't really go like Vlad's. Drums are fine, and those are still good too. The Shard is good. BKB is good. I think there's a lot of nice things for Crystal Maiden, and I've been having some success with her again, like over 2-3 games, but I've been seeing her do well as well. So I think she's a big winner to me. Dawnbreaker's still in here. I know she got nerfed, but I still think she's just a solid support. I'm willing to still call her a good support right now. Chen, I think, is great. Not that most of us play Chen, but I still think he's fine. And then Omni Knight, another strength melee hero. Going back to that idea, that the neutral item I was talking about is weird. Like, these guys, they like this. They like mana, and they like hitting people and slowing them down. So I think some of the supports who really like this are these melee heroes who tend to be like on the strength side, low mana pool. Ogre, another example, wants mana, likes to hit people. I think they're big winners from this. I think the flag bearer creep's easier to hit. He's got pure damage to kill the melee creep. Decent laning stages, buffs to these heroes. Like I said, saves, I think, being a little bit better now. So for hard supports, I'm pretty convinced all of these guys are good. Guys and girls. Others, I think, can be good. I just haven't seen them enough yet to fully know. So people I'm keeping my eye on, Dark Willow did incredibly at the major. Or sorry, not the major. The tournament in Malaysia that just finished. A lot of people started picking her up. The branch is a lot easier to land now. She's had a lot of weird like changes over the last couple patches. Things that are like kind of buffs, kind of nerfs. It's kind of weird. But I think slowly she's getting enough buffs that Dark Willow is coming back. So I will try her out. I'll let you guys know. AA attack slow on his W, I think is pretty nice. Still very underestimated, I think. People not used to it. Still, don't even read the patch notes, don't know. So they don't realize they are just doing less damage than they used to because they're attacking less. So I think he's doing well. Disruptor. Also, if mechs do become more popular, he is the anti-mech. So that always gives him more value. Disruptor just got a ton of free damage on his W. 300 at max, assuming you get the right amount of distance. That's great. Disruptor is a hero that does well when ahead because Disruptor himself offers very little in terms of damage outside of his ultimate. His glimpse is just like, bring the hero back. Everyone else, you kill that guy because I add like very little damage. Now, with glimpse, it's a little easier to do these two-man movements. Disruptor plus one hero, and Disruptor adds potentially 300 damage, and then his other spells, let's say he doesn't even use his ult, then the offlaner, the mid, the other support, whoever he's with, only has to contribute, 300 less damage now. So I think that has been really nice for Disruptor, and we might see him a bit more. Witch Doctor with his W heal, I don't know. I still have to investigate it. I've heard some people say it's pretty good. I've only seen one guy try it, and it didn't look great, but, one sample size is not enough, so we will keep an eye on that. I think it could be good. It's like 2/3 of a radiance at like level 7. That's pretty interesting. But I haven't tried it myself yet, so we'll have to see. I think Shadow Demon, I don't know. I haven't seen it myself in my own games to feel it. I've like watched some. I've heard people talking about it. Seems like it could be good. He's a hero who always comes in and out of the meta, especially near TI, so we'll see. Some of these others, I'm not going to talk through all the rest of these because these were the ones I was really interested in. Some of the others just received like slight buffs. Abaddon having like a strong dispel. This isn't like a hard list, like fully organized, but kind of where I think these heroes in the front are doing better than the ones later. Trian I think is fine. Trian, like, I'll move him up there. Ogre, I still need to... I played one game, didn't feel great, but I think I was against Venno, Rubik. It was a pretty sad lane. This damage is very interesting. He just got 20 damage, which is kind of crazy, but I miss his old high armor, high regen. I think it was very iconic. Just gonna have to get over that. And I want to test a Bloodlust level 1 build. Because right now his slow movement speed is hurting his newfound damage, I think. Before it wasn't so bad. You were slow and they would like hit you, but it wasn't such a big deal because you had armor and HP regen. Now he doesn't have that. You can't spend as much time getting hit for free. So I think he needs more move speed along with buying regen. So I've been thinking like try Bloodlust. Gives you more move speed, gives you more attack speed to hit things. Maybe get an Oov, maybe get boots to be even faster. I'm not sure. We're going to try it out. I'm going to let you guys know what I think. But could be good. I don't know. 20 damage is so much, but I do miss his old stuff. Other supports, I'm not going to talk about them quite yet. They all got small changes. I'm undecided on them. Two heroes I do think are not great supports anymore. Lion just has not been in the best spot, and I don't see the changes like really changing that. And then Marcy, lost her blink nearly instant stun, you know? Once you would grab someone, that was the stun, and you could blink grab really quickly. That is gone now. You have to rebound in, and rebound is slower, and it's a lot more telegraphed. That is very painful for a support who has played around that whole concept of leap in, pull someone back, and stun them in that grab. So I think she's gonna need buffs in other places. Like, I don't think it's terrible, because that was very hard to balance. She was a very good hero, guys. So I think it's kind of fair to nerf that, but I think she's gonna need more buffs in the other categories right now. From what I've seen, it's just not the same where she used to be. Maybe it's just gonna take some exploration to figure out the new way to play her. An increased stun from the rebound is not bad. I think they should revert the rebound nerf from before. Instead of just using it on allies, it should work on enemies again to give her more mobility with rebound. Since they changed the like blink instant stun, she will never have that anymore. So I think it's fine to give her back some more mobility now. So yeah, for 5s, this is kind of like where we're at. For 4s, I have less to talk about, to be honest. Dawnbreaker, like I said, still good. Mirana, I think, has a strong laning presence. You can arrow all the creeps you want, and she has an easy time ganking, right? As enemy heroes spend more time in the mid lane, it's easier to be there to arrow rather than like wait for them to come back from the small camp. And if you do get a successful gank off, great. She's relatively fast, especially with leap, so it's easier to roam between, not get punished so much away from all the laning time. Like we said, all the like passive gold decrease, all that. She minimizes that with how fast she is. Plus, she can just arrow jungle creeps to keep up her farm as she roams. So I think she's been doing really well. Nyx, I think, I don't know. I just think Nyx he's just cool. You know, he's nifty. I think people are sleeping on him still. I think he's just really nice to be active with a lot of stuff. Dawnbreaker's still good, so he's good against Dawnbreaker, good with Dawnbreaker. Puck is still relatively common, good against Puck, you know, so I just like Nyx. Other 4s, I think there are many who could be good, but I just haven't experienced it too much. So, like, I think Tusk is looking good, Earthshaker, slight buffs. So far I saw more Dark Willow 5s and 4s, actually, so I'm not too sure. I think the same buff should be good for 4 and 5. Ruby got a buff. Shadow Demon, again, like, flexes between the two. Not fully sure. Same with, like, Shadow Shaman. E.T. getting buffs. He always comes back every TI, so expect to see him. I think he got buffs, so I think it's coming. I tried the Bounty Hunter shard change once. That was kind of cool. People aren't used to it yet. They just auto attack and break it right away, but it's kind of interesting. I'm not sure how good it is yet. The mini stun's nice. A lot of this other stuff, you know, we'll see. I think the Snapfire cookie change is pretty cool. It's a lot of damage, very active. I think it makes more sense with like staying far back, better for support Snapfire than core Snapfire. But the Blink Shard build is kind of dead now. But the Cookie build is pretty high damage between two people. So you could cookie someone in, ult. It does a lot of damage. You can kill a lot of people, even though you could kind of do that before. Let's move on to the weird stuff. So I have not tried these yet. I've heard them tried, and we will see. The Shard from Tidehunter gives him another stun. It sounded good. I tested it in a demo. It's a lot slower and a lot thinner than what I thought it would be. So I don't know. That might have killed the dream for me, but we'll see. I'll let someone else explore it first as I try out some of these other things. But eventually when we get bored, we might go back and see if we can make it work. Just because he is like this tanky guy, provides negative armor, got some buffs that would just help him survive longer. And then, you know, his ult has always been good. So I could see it working. He has been played as a support before, and now you can pick up an extra stun, which it's kind of okay that it's slow in some cases if someone else is setting up. So some potential there, but I haven't tried it. Let me know if you have. Kunkka, this is just me dreaming. I always want Kunkka support to be coming back. The Q now does 40% slow at level 1, but the Q is not so easy to hit just off the bat. So I don't know if it just like brings him back. It does like 5 more damage now. I don't know, guys. I just want it to work, but I'm not sure if it does yet. His talents got shifted around. I don't even know if it's good for Kunkka support or not, but I just want it to work, so I'm gonna keep my eye on it forever. Centaur, I'm sure you've all seen the memes with his new Ags. His HP regen got massively buffed, but his armor got massively nerfed. He's kind of like Ogre used to be. Ogre had high armor, high HP regen. He has one of those. So I'm wondering if he can buy armor, and then, you know, you get some points and retaliate. Maybe you don't. Maybe you just get W, because now you have higher HP regen, so you just use double edge to harass people, and you just heal up through it while they can't match the same pace. I'm not sure. Eventually your ult is like decent utility. You run in AoE stun. Like, there's some good stuff there for supports, but the farm required for an Aghanims is a lot. He also is missing a lot of mana, and you don't have a lot of items to support. So, like, I don't know if it's good, but it's interesting, and we might try it. Sven, I think, is the most legitimate support here currently. We did try it once in the past, and I've seen other people try it. It's got more value as a flex in pro games, where you like pick an early Sven and then you're like, haha, it's just a support. But he's got stun, he's got armor. What about his other abilities? We don't really use the other abilities. We just use the stun and the armor, and we play really fast. That's kind of what support Sven is. Is that good compared to other heroes? I don't know. I haven't tried it yet. But if you're just looking for that weird stuff, these are the weird ones I got my eye on. New weird ones. You know, we still have the old ones like, I don't know, Weaver, Monkey King, those kind of things. I don't think they're particularly good right now, but they've existed before. We don't need to talk about them. These are the newer weird ones that I am keeping my eye on. So that's it. Hopefully you found this helpful. Oops, a little longer than I meant it to be. But that is my current take on the meta. If I had to pick 2 heroes here to only play, it'd be these 2. I think they're really good. For 4, I don't know. I've actually seen some Crystal Maiden Undying 4. I might try that too. Could be good. Probably like Dawnbreaker, Mirana are still really strong 4s. But like I said, I think there's many heroes in the 4 category that are still strong. Skywrath with his new shard still looks good. Spiritbreaker, Tusk, they got some buffs. I think they could be good. The like decent laners and strong gankers, I think, have a chance here. And I'd like to try it more before I get back to you on that. So I will let you know in a future video. Bye. Thanks for watching.